different.
I'm calling Phil Twyford.
Twyford.
Mr. Twyford. Phil Twyford.
You know, Mr. Chairman, the National Party used to talk a lot about being ambitious for New Zealand.
And we are.
But you don't really hear that very much these days. They used to be so ambitious for New Zealand. And nothing illustrates better what a tired, run-down government, out of ideas, than Bill English's comments only a few days ago when he said that there was nothing left undone by the government in relation to the Auckland housing crisis. There was nothing left undone, nothing more to do. But I guess Bill English was kind of right, if you ignore cracking down on speculators. And he probably forgot banning offshore speculators from buying New Zealand houses. And he forgot building new houses that people could actually live in. He didn't mention reforming the planning rules to build more houses and more affordable houses. And he must have forgotten to mention the fact that LVRs should be changed so they don't needlessly punish the regions and first home buyers. But that's only 6 policies. Other than that, I guess Bill English was right and there's nothing more to be done about the Auckland housing crisis. You see, this government on housing is looking increasingly isolated and beleaguered. And you saw it in question time today on Bill English's face. He was tired and worn down and beaten and embarrassed that this party that once claimed to be so ambitious for New Zealand is so patently, completely out of ideas and flailing around. You know, in the last couple of weeks, the Reserve Bank Deputy Governor called on the government to take action to address imbalances in the housing market. The Reserve Bank called on the government to crack down on speculators. Who would have believed it, that this government would be so isolated and so embarrassed on housing policy that the Reserve Bank Governor is advocating a crackdown on speculators, the same speculators that are responsible for 40%, according to QV, 40% of all property transactions are involving speculators. And to rub salt into the wounds of tens of thousands of young Kiwi first home buyers who are shut out of the market by this national government that has presided over the worst rates of home ownership in 60 years. What did we hear last week? But a New Zealand company running ads on the radio in Singapore and Malaysia saying, come and invest in New Zealand property because New Zealanders will give you half their weekly earnings. New Zealanders will give you half their weekly earnings, and there's no stamp duty, there's no capital gains, there are no restrictions on foreign speculators bidding up the price of New Zealand houses. So this government, instead of being ambitious for New Zealand, they are out there in the world stage prostituting our real estate market for all comers. They're saying, come on, the property speculators of the world, come to New Zealand and you can buy and sell New Zealand houses for capital gain, and these New Zealanders will give you half their weekly earnings. That's what's happened under this national government that used to be so ambitious for New Zealand. So what did John Key say? What did John Key say when he was asked about this? When he was asked about the Reserve Bank Deputy Governor's comments, he said, Auckland house prices that have increased by $300,000 under this government, he said they're not overvalued because there hasn't been a market correction in 45 years. John Key said, that's just the market working. That's how markets work. You see, this is the currency trader. This is the currency trader trying to get his head around a failed housing market that has destroyed the dreams of a generation of young New Zealanders, and they don't care about it because they all own multiple properties themselves, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.